Hello, Patreon supporters at the $5 and $10 level. I really appreciate this. I literally cannot do the show without your support. I don't get any corporate money. I don't have billionaires backing me. I don't have rich parents. I'm doing this all with your support. YouTube keeps cutting my money, so literally more and more it has to come down to Patreon. Thank you so much. So one of the things I've talked a lot about on this show is how the corporate America have infiltrated every aspect of our life. Chris Hedges talks about this in Death of the Liberal Class. One of the places they've done it is at universities. They buy their way into universities, and I'm going to show you what happened here at Tufts University. But Tufts is actually kind of waking up to this through a lot of pressure. This is why pressure and protesting and people saying and getting loud about stuff peacefully, non-violently, it makes a difference. It makes a difference. Because Tufts was getting a lot of money from the family that's behind OxyContin, but they just severed ties with that family, right? The Sackler family. The billionaire family that owns OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma saying it will strip the Sackler name from its campus and accept no further donations. Wait a minute. The Sackler family, the maker of Purdue Pharmaceutical, the one that helped create the opioid epidemic, that lied to doctors and said it's not that addictive and paid doctors and encouraged them to prescribe it, withheld information about how addictive it was. It basically is prescription grade heroin. Heroin, one of the most addictive substances on the face of the earth. Yes, that Purdue Pharmaceutical, right? Offers 10 to 12 billion to settle opioid claims. This was in August of this summer. One of them was they had to pay $500 million to the state of Oklahoma. I've talked to people that live where this happened. It has decimated communities. They profited from it. They knew it and they profited from it. If we get a bunch of people hooked, our profits will go up. That's how they thought. That's this evil company and this evil family. Oh, but when the court stuck it to them, what did they do? Did they do the right thing and just start writing checks to everybody? No, they filed bankruptcy. This is what weaselly corporations do. And look, in this article, you'll see what does it mean for the lawsuits. And this is Purdue Pharma. One way to file bankruptcy so that creditors, in this case, plaintiffs in these lawsuits, are going to, the bankruptcy makes sure they get their money. All right, let's hope that that happens. Let's hope that that's what this bankruptcy ploy is and not just them going, oh, we're out of money, sorry. Family who's lost a member because we deliberately got him or her hooked on drugs and they OD'd and died, haha. Like this might be what they're trying to do. So this is how awful the Sackler family is. And they got so much pressure, Tufts University and other universities have gotten so much pressure that they're like, get them out of here. We don't want their money anymore. But let's go back. Let's see how this has been happening since the 80s. This is what they've done. This is how this works. So when you see a big corporate name on a college campus, they're not just like, oh, we want to care about education. They're buying influence. Ending a relationship that has spanned 4 decades and brought $15 million to the school's science and medical programs. Why is a for-profit pharmaceutical company buying its way into medical programs? Tufts has a pretty good med school. So why are the medical students going to be like, well, let's find alternative means. Let's get our patients off of prescription drugs. Ooh, shh, they just gave us $50 million. Don't say that, right? Let's say a grad student comes up with their product actually is causing harm and they've produced some paper or study or whatever. It's that the chairman that's going to come into the department or someone high up in the university is going to go, that report, no. That we can't have that because they donate, right? Went back to 1980 when 3 founding brothers of Purdue Pharma provided a donation to establish the Sackler School of Graduate Biomedical Sciences. This is their way of ensuring that future doctors continue to prescribe their products. This is what is so awful about a for-profit healthcare system. This is why Medicare for All gets rid of this. Doctors should just be learning what's best for their patients. Healthy food, alternative medicine, if the last resort should be some really gnarly pharmaceutical. But not under this system. They bought ad time on all the networks. They're buying smear ads to all say Bernie's Medicare for All is going to, they're going to try that crazy. It's going to kick your family off the streets and your grandmother's going to die because Bernie took her health care away, right? They're going to do that nonsense. This is where it starts, though. They said, how can we control everything? Start them young. Start them in med school. Arthur Sackler's wife, Julian, served on the university's board of trustees for a decade, starting in 1986 on the board of trustees. You see how they buy this influence? It's not just, I want to help. I care about higher education. I just want to put my name on a building. Oh, you could say, well, that's a noble thing for a rich person to do. They didn't build inner city schools. They went to a prestigious East Coast university with a very good medical program, the very good med school, and said, how do we influence the board of trustees? Try to go through, I bet you there's doctors who tried to go through Tufts medical school and were like, hey, we shouldn't be prescribing our patients so many drugs and we should let the body heal itself and let's try other things like acupuncture and eating healthy and maybe a plant-based diet. I bet you those things are suggested and no, who's on our board of trustees? Don't say that. Shut up. Maybe we're not going to pass you this semester if you keep with this no prescription drug noise. See how they buy this influence? See how this works? Richard Sackler, a Purdue board member and former CEO, sat on the medical school's board of advisors. So that means they're advising med students. You're a young med student, you're learning about this. One of your who should your advisors be? They should be surgeons and doctors and scientists and researchers, not for-profit pharmaceutical companies. That's a for-profit thing. You're bringing for-profit into schools. Do you see why free college tuition? I mean, Bernie's pitching it for public universities and school. Tufts, I think, is a private school, but whatever. See, when we get the money out of politics, we get the money out of our media. Purdue Pharmaceutical doesn't donate to this channel. If they did, if Purdue Pharmaceutical said, well, Graham, we'll give you $15 million. We want to back your show. I'd say, you got it. But it's just going to be a handshake deal because I don't want any paperwork saying I can't badmouth you. I'd take your $15 million, deposit it, grow my channel, and then still do videos like this. See how they do this, though? But I just wanted to show you. So they're advising med students. No, you're going to need a prescription. You're going to need to use not. I had a urologist in my early 20s, old guy, conservative guy, pictures with Bush, George H.W., and Ron Reagan, right? And he was like, nah, let's cure it with your diet first. I had like a urinary tract infection. He's like, yeah, cranberry juice, he's like, do this bland diet. He was all about that. He was like, prescription last. Let your body fix itself. But while he politically was conservative, he understood how the body worked. And he went to med schools, in the 50s and 60s before pharmaceutical companies started buying them up. Associated Press review in October found that prestigious universities around the world accepted at least 60 million from the Sacklers over the last 5 years. Oh, so you took some of your profits from getting people hooked on drugs and profiting from people ODing and ruining communities and lives and families. Oh, and you gave it to some universities so you could continue that influence so people would keep pushing your drugs. They're drug dealers. Can you imagine if it was like some street criminal drug dealer was like on the board? Oh, notorious LA crack dealer was on the board of trustees at USC Medical. We'd be like, what? But this is permissible? This is permissible. Oh, former drug cartel guy is at the UT, University of Texas Med School. We would be like outraged, like, what, that drug dealers are in our schools? Yeah, yes, Purdue Pharmaceutical. $10 to $12 billion in settlements around the country. That's what they did. A lot of these schools don't give the money back to Purdue Pharmaceutical. Set up programs on addiction. Help people get clean and sober, and then help with programs to prevent people from ever being addicted. I don't know, maybe spend money on researching non-habit forming painkillers. Because how many times have we heard that story? I'm sure there's people, we're going to see it in the comment section. Please tell us your story. I got injured, I got a motorcycle accident, I broke my knee playing sports, whatever, I fell off a thing, and then they gave me these painkillers because the pain was excruciating. Who wouldn't take a painkiller? I'm terrified that I would have some injury, and I had my wisdom teeth out. They're like, here's some Vicodin. The doctor gave me this long speech about how addictive Vicodin was. It was a very small prescription. I didn't take any. I was like, nah, man, I ain't going to do this. And I go, if the pain gets so bad, I can't, but I'm going to take Tylenol and Tylenol PM at night. And that's how I'm going to get through this. That's how I'm going to get through it, because I don't want to get hooked on this. But he gave me this long speech. Purdue Pharmaceutical saw that as a detriment to their sales. Oh, Vicodin doesn't move as much because everyone's got to tell the... So they lied and told doctors it's not that addictive. So doctors misled their patients and said it's not that habit forming. What if my doctor would have said that to me about Vicodin and I became a hophead? Maybe I wouldn't be here. See what they did? You see how it works? Cornell and Yale universities, others including Brown University, said they will redirect past donations to support addiction treatment. Yeah, a bunch of schools have given away their money. If you are an alumni or a current student or a faculty member or just an employee of any university that has taken money from the Sacklers and Purdue University, pitch a bitch and get their names out of there. And do this with any of them, Pfizer, any of them. Get them. They have no business being in a public university. They have no business being in any institution of higher learning. You shouldn't learn how to sacrifice integrity for money. That's not what college is, right? College is supposed to be this noble pursuit of higher knowledge. That's the corporate sector and the private world if you want to get into that. But no, we're starting you nice and young. Here's how you sell out. Here's how you take money. Here's how you learn to censor yourself or not ask questions because you don't want the gravy train to stop. You don't want the gravy train to stop. This is why we need Medicare for all, by the way. This is why I go plant-based life, man. This is why I always try to find a natural remedy for things. The last resort is pharmaceutical drugs. That's just me. That's how I live. Because I don't trust these. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. This proves they're not to be trusted. They're not trying to make the world better. They're not trying to help people. Are there doctors and scientists and researchers within these pharmaceutical companies that have those noble intentions? I know that they do. I know that they do. I know some of them. Graduated college, they wanted to find research in medicines because there's medicines out there. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I'll be honest with you. Polio, tetanus, mumps, measles, they all got cured. So I'm for science for the betterment of the human race, not for profit. This is what happens when everything's for profit. We sacrifice our health, we sacrifice, it's not a criminal issue. Drug addiction is not a criminal issue. It's a health issue. And they helped push it. So if you're an alumni or faculty, like I said, and your school has taken or is currently taking money from Purdue and the Sacklers, say no. Say no to any corporate money, man. They want to put their name on the football stadium, fine. But paying and having these people as advisors and as trustees, it's bad. Thanks for supporting the show on Patreon, everybody. Share the Patreon out on your social media. Get people to subscribe. That's another way to help support the show so I can keep bringing stories like this to you. Stories that the mainstream media won't bring you because they're all liars. And because Purdue Pharmaceutical buys ad time. Merck, Pfizer, all those people buy ad time on the corporate media. You can't trust them. Thanks for watching.